Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Greg Shepard. I'm the chairman, and this is our volunteer LPA board. We've got a full board tonight. Calling the meeting to order for August 14th, 2025 at 6 p.m. for the Baker County Land Planning. If you guys would, please join me in a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. And we'll get started. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for the blessing of community where we support and uplift one another. Protect our community from harm and discord, and let your peace prevail. Safeguard the members of our armed forces, granting them strength and safety. Comfort those facing hardship, poverty, loneliness, or illness, and inspire us to show compassion. May our community reflect your kingdom of love. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Thank you, everyone. I didn't see that for some reason. So I would ask, and I want to thank the public for showing up. This is great. You know, having a full house. I see some familiar faces, some new faces. Appreciate it. And if you do want to speak, this is a public meeting. Just on the back table there's some of these speaker cards. Fill that out with your name and address and the agenda item that you want to talk about. And then give it to either myself or Miss Julie. We'll call you up when that application comes through. The other thing is then when you do come up, please come up to the microphone, announce yourself and your address, and we'll go from there. Okay? Is there anybody here that's not for LPA? If you're looking for a recreational group or anything else? Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first order of business is the minutes from the July 10th, 2025 meeting.
motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor of approving the meeting minutes from July 10th, 2025, LPA, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion approved. Point of order just for one quick second. Where's our person taking the minutes?
They are not going to be here this evening. They're going to do the...
So they'll just do it from the recording? Okay. Just wanted to make sure before we got too far into it. All right, turning it over, and now new business. Madam Director?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Alright, so we have a couple of different things this evening. The first application that you have is for an exemption to the preliminary requirements of subdivision. This property is located behind the Glenwood subdivision in Glen St. Mary, just kind of north of the Island Oaks RV Park. It's currently owned by Mr. Wyman and Joyce Davis. It's 39.23 acres with a current land use of Ag B and a current zoning of Ag 7.5. As we've talked many times before, anytime one parcel becomes 3 or more, a subdivision is created. It would be the intent of the applicants to subdivide this piece into 3 parcels. They would keep ownership of 1 parcel with their home. The other 2 parcels would be sold to the acting agent here and an immediate family member of hers for them to build homes for themselves. So if you look here at the land use and zoning maps, to the north and to one side, it has the same land use and zoning with that Ag Zone B and Ag 7.5. And then on one side, you have some very low density residential and some RC1. And then to the south of it is the RV park. So you see that recreation and PUD zoning. This here is how those two new parcels that are being created would look. It is a little light here, but you can see this is what would be left of the parent tract up here, and here's the home. And then this would be one parcel here, this would be a parcel here. So this is one of those areas that has some wetlands, but it is not part of the FEMA flood zone. So the flood zone does not touch this parcel in any way, and it isn't even close. But there are some bona fide wetlands here. So their buildable area, you could see, would be along this area and along this area, and then there is a little patch of uplands back here. So like I said, we don't see a whole lot of these, but it does happen where they're not in the FEMA flood zone, but they have some wetlands on the property. So the proposed subdivision would be compatible with the surroundings. You have just, it's right behind an established subdivision already, with smaller lots. So the applicant meets all of the requirements for the exemption to the preliminary subdivision process. So the staff does recommend submittal approved as submitted. And the property owners and agent are here if you have any questions for them.
Okay. So comments from the board? So my question for the exemption, they're asking for an exemption for paving on the road?
It's gonna have a private road, yes. So it's an exemption to the preliminary requirements. So with that, does take out that paved road requirement. So they will be able to use an interior private road that they will be responsible for maintaining.
And the current road construction in that area, if I'm not mistaken, is currently paved roads, right? In that established subdivision?
Yes,
Or is it?
within the subdivision, yes.
Okay. And then you're saying this is going to be a private road?
Yeah, Three Forks comes off of,
Glenwood.
comes off of Glenwood. So the two new parcels will have access from Glenwood through Three Forks.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Well,
No,
hold on.
Did you fill out a card?
We'll have comments in a minute.
Yeah, we'll have public comments in a second. Right now, we're taking it with the board. So just fill out a speaker card, sir, and you can bring it up. And you're saying this is going to be a private road? Because I'm worried about long-term, no, two things I'm worried about. One, setting a precedence for exempting subdivisions. What happens if a big builder comes in and now we've done an exemption for this? It's just something,
Right.
looking down the road and being aware of that. Then the road construction, you're saying it's going to be a private road.
Right.
So it's not going to be any burden on the county to maintain that road.
We would not. There would have to be some sort of easement agreement or something like that between the property owners.
Okay.
Three Forks Road is not paved now, or it is paved?
It's not paved. It's
And
not.
all three residences will be on Three Forks Road? No?
Unless they were to decide to access another way. If another easement was developed and platted with it, that's a feasible option too.
So what about looks like a roadway that's already eastman at the south of it? What is that going back to the property? Go back one more slide. Hold on. See the blue?
South
down
side
on
of the
bottom,
property.
Coming off of Glenwood Road?
Oh, down here?
Yeah,
No.
right
Right
there.
there.
Yeah.
I am not sure that it is accessible. I'm not sure that that portion of the road was ever developed.
Okay, good. Sir? How about you guys? Any other comments?
No.
Okay, we'll open it up for public comments. So the first one I've got, and sorry I didn't put them in order when they came out, so Mr. George Weeks.
Good evening.
Hello, sir.
I'm George Weeks. I live at 77694 Circle in Glenwood, just outside Glen St. Mary. Just a couple things you need to understand. One, Glenwood along with McClenny, two are the oldest housing developments in Baker County. And I've been living in the same house since 1980. There were only like 6 homes when we first moved in there. Wyman and Joyce owned lots in Glenwood as well as the property that they had there. Our roads are private. Our paved roads are private, and they are maintained by our HOA. In fact, over 90% of the money we take in goes for maintenance, insurance, and paving of the roads. So one of the things we're concerned about is we're allowing access, and I understand you can't block people off from their property, but we want something right and to make sure we understand that by doing this access, these roads have to be maintained. And that we would like everybody to share in the cost. Because right now, we are saving up enough money to get the roads paved again. It was paved resurfaced some years ago, and that's something else that we're trying to do. Our HODs are not excessive. Right now, they're around $120, $125 a year, and we're getting ready to raise them up some because we're slowly trying to accumulate enough money to get it paved. So whenever we have this and we allow more people, we only have one road in and out. So we're a very quiet neighborhood. You can walk our neighborhood, you can ride your bike, your kids can get out, and they don't have to worry about through traffic. So again, we're adding more traffic to the roads, and that's something else that we're also concerned about. One of the things that happened back in 2003, 4, and 5, before we had the crash, where the RV park is, there was going to be a housing development. And I understand now in housing development, you have to have 2 roads in and out. And so they approached us about meeting up with our road, end of Glenwood Drive, to use that as a secondary escape road. And we agreed that we would block it off and give keys to rescue and the police in case they had to get in and out, in case their main entrance was blocked. But right now, with the RV park, one of the things we did is we encouraged a barrier when they built it. So they left a wooded barrier between us and the RV park. Because when they put in the RV park, they cleared out all the timber. Now we get a lot of road noise, and that timber's the last barrier. So we would like to maintain that as best we can. And the only reason I'd say would like in writing is because things change. I mean, you have illness, you have accidents, you have death, and I'm sure from what I understand the people are what they plan to do, and I have no doubts what it is, but in 5 or 10 years things change, so we want to make sure they can't come in and put in 10 homes since it's already classified as a development, and then we're footing the boat for the roads there, and that's a lot more traffic. So anyway, I would like your consideration on that. And just as an aside, it would have been nice, I understand you're only supposed to give notices to 300 feet, but since there's only one road in and it's a private road in our neighborhood, it would have been nice if somebody had put the sign right up the entrance to Glenwood so all of my neighbors could have been notified of the zoning change. Any questions?
No, but I don't have any questions, sir, but I'd like to restate, just so I have it clear in my head. Require written agreement for maintaining those roads.
In other words, are they going to be a part of this? Or are they going to help us?
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Yes.
Can they be a part of
Yes.
that HOA
Yes.
and share that instead of
Yes.
3 people having to do just that
Yes.
segment? Because then you can spread the costs.
And then my question is, with the zoning change that's there, can they come in and add more houses, which then means more traffic, and that we would be against.
Okay.
And the answer to that would would be no. They would be platted lots, just like your lot. So if that one house per 7.5 acre density would still apply.
Okay, and
Yes.
if they change that, they would have to come back and ask for an
Yes,
exemption?
Absolutely, absolutely. And for
Okay.
any density less than that, there would be a zoning change required as well.
Right. Because I understand if it's a public road, we have no say, but since it's private, we maintain it,
Correct.
then we would like some say in what goes in around it.
And the other element, you did address the traffic concerns because of the
Right.
neighborhood. But it looks like this may be, pardon me, maybe just 3 additional homes coming in there.
Right. But a
So-
lot of my neighbors walk in the mornings and the evenings.
Yes, sir.
And the kids, like Daryl, his wife babysits the grandkids, and they're out walking my neighborhood in the morning. So traffic is an issue and concern. We just want to make sure we don't get overwhelmed.
Right. And then finally was maintain a natural buffer.
Yes, we want to maintain a natural buffer with us in RV park because they play a lot of music and stuff on the weekends.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you for your
Do you
concern.
guys have any questions for Mr. Weeks?
I don't, just one thing to know, I mean, I understand you requested, it would have been nice to have the sign at the entrance.
Yes.
But all these meetings are advertised in the press. So the whole community, the whole county could have access, if they just read the paper.
I understand, but my point was, since we only have one road in and out and everybody basically is involved in my neighborhood, and no disrespect to the press, I take it, but not everybody does, and not everybody gets online. So as a public service, if it could just put it right at the road, it just, made a lot more sense, just common sense wise.
Just
But
just for clarification.
I got that, I understand.
All right. Thank you, sir. I
Yes,
don't
sir.
think
Thank
we
you.
have any other questions. Okay, so that was Mr. Weeks. And then I have Mr. John Adams, I believe.
My name is John Adams. I live at 7821 Forest Circle, Glen St. Mary, in the Glenwood subdivision. Before I begin, I have some questions that I would like to try to get cleared up from the board so that I understand what the Ag 7.5 zoning is.
Mhm.
I know that when Glenwood was first developed, by the way, we're the third house or third lot that was developed at the beginning of Glenwood subdivision. So we've been there for several years. When the Glenwood subdivision was first developed, there was an existing farm, which is what this property is, and it was granted an easement for that family to use the paved road, but their road up to their house they said that they would keep it like it is. And since that property's been sold, my question is, if this is going to be a standalone subdivision, according to the subdivision rules and regulations, like Mr. Chairman, you raised a question about the roads being paved. That would mean drainage as well on both sides if it was paved. Right now, there is no adequate drainage along that dirt pathway or dirt driveway.
Mhm.
I think that's a consideration. Also, under the Ag 7 zoning, what residences can be established there, and what other businesses, agricultural businesses, can be established there?
You want to take that?
It could be single family homes or mobile homes, either one, are allowed within the Ag 7.5 zoning. And then as far as agricultural businesses,
Yeah.
what do you mean by agricultural businesses? I mean, it
Chicken
is-
farm, hog farm, stuff like that.
So any entitlements that are already there now would still be in place. Those zoning entitlements would not change with this.
That speaks to my point. I'm up here primarily to be concerned about the value of the homes in Glenwood. We have deed restrictions on all of the lots in Glenwood Subdivision Unit 1. They're extensive. The minimum house size is, I believe it's 1,600 1,700 square feet, something, but it's required to be a house, not a mobile home, not any other structure. Of course, everything yields back to whatever the Baker County building codes are for building a residence. The other concerns that I have in this property right here where the trees are to the right of the dirt road, there's a wetland right there.
Mhm.
And I know that Mr. Davis and his wife were, at one time, the Glenwood subdivision owned that piece of property there, probably about an acre or so. Years ago, when we went to repave the road, Mr. Davis and his wife bought that property from the subdivision, which allowed us to be able to pave the road. So there's been a long-standing relationship between Glenwood subdivision and the Davises, and they've been a very positive part of that whole area as far as our subdivision goes. So my complaints are not at all with the Davises. They're primarily with the future development and maintaining our homestead as a R1 home zone. And with the ag zone right next to it, it pretty much throws open the door to just about any other kind of development that they want to make, with no deed restrictions. We would certainly welcome them probably into the subdivision if they wanted to accept our deed restrictions, which would absolutely confine that development to being a very married part of Glenwood subdivision. I know that there was the trailer park development, the travel trailer development down on the other end, on the south end of the Glenwood property. Is very, very great for the county. It's handled very well. It's done very well. It's a beautiful setup. On the east side of Nursery Boulevard, though, there's nothing but mobile homes almost exclusively. I would have preferred that to be R1. We did come up and did have input to the previous conversations on previous zoning concerning that, but it is what it is now. But we would really, concerning this particular property, we would really like to see this property either become part of the deed restricted area of Glenwood subdivision or be restricted to homes to maintain our value. And I know if you were a homeowner in our subdivision or felt, really had thinking about value, you would not necessarily want an open zoned area next to where you live, because we pay precious little yearly dues to be in the homeowners association. That's going to go up, and we're trying to upgrade the value of Glenwood by beginning to enforce some of the deed restrictions that are there. And I think it's going to be, I think Glenwood subdivision is a beautiful place to live, and I just want to see the value maintained. So I appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. I do appreciate it.
If I may touch there, just to be clear, we're not changing any zoning. We're not changing any land use. So the land is already zoned what it is. It's going to remain what it is. The land use is what it is. It's going to remain what it is. We're simply here to discuss an exemption to subdivision requirements.
Yes.
Just to be clear.
And do we have the zoning defined so we can, do you have it on the previous map?
What do you mean of the zoning defined?
Well, it's Ag 7.
It's Ag 7.5.
Yeah, Ag 7.5 right
Yep.
now. So, sir, where'd he go? Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir.
That land is currently zoned Ag 7.5, so we're not, see that yellow area?
Right.
Yep.
Also, my point is that Mr. Davis and his family are not going to own all of it either. It's going to be sold off so that they can come back to this board for any future, actions or whatever. I'm just concerned about the value of, if this was going to be restricted to homes or be part of Glenwood subdivision, except our deed restrictions, that sort of thing, it would certainly be welcome. And I know that Mr. Davis is unfortunate that he's going to divide this up because he's been an excellent neighbor to our subdivision.
Yep.
He's helped us out in time of need, and they've been very, very good neighbors.
And in that term, I would say that that relationship should continue, and there should be some conversations about bringing them in. That's outside the purview for us as the LPA. We can't tell people what to do with their private property. We can say, when it's zoned this way or has this definition, these are the permitted uses. But I can't go in here as the LPA, tell a private person that he's got to join your
HOA.
HOA.
Thank you.
Do you understand? Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Yes, ma'am.
Was that all the speaker cards?
No, I'm gonna go,
Okay.
no. Yeah, you got it. All right, Colin, it looks like Misner,
It's Colin
Meisner, sorry about
You're
that.
closer than most people. Thank you. 7858 Forest Circle, and the neighborhood is my address. So I am the current Landowners Association president. I don't know if it comes down to just verbiage, but it is not an HOA, it is an LOA. I'm making that distinction because I did a little digging, and this is the original, if you'd like to see it, warranty deed from George Tabor III to the Glenwood Landowners Association, which means that all of those roads are owned by us. It's not public property. We carry liability, like they said. My major concern, just to reiterate it, is that they contribute the degradation of the property, the road. Like Mr. Adams was saying, we don't know what may happen in the future. So whatever is set aside now as a precedent is sort of what's going to happen in the future. I also have a property appraiser map here, which I believe is the same one as the one on the bottom right hand. I'm only want to illustrate this to you is because it looks on there like that lower road, which is Pine Knoll, would go back to that ag property that may be surrounded by Wyman Davis's. But that's not right. Mr. Darrell Register is here. He owns these lower 3 properties. So those roads are technically closed off. Besides that very bottom boundary and the other boundary on Three Forks. Three Forks is a dirt road. Pine Knoll is paved to a very small section where the that little triangular piece of property is.
Okay.
But there are woods that go back to the Davis property. One thing I wanted to ask you about is this is your LPA agenda, and you have it laid out nicely.
Thank you. That's compliments to the staff.
In section 4, number 1, the exemption, put it right in order. It says new business. This brings up commercial highway. I don't know if that was some sort of typo or if it was just misplaced.
Those are the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay. Okay, thank you. My mistake. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to see this. As far as
Could I,
legality.
is that the only copy you have of
I have
that?
plenty of them.
Could you just give it to Julie and we'll enter it in as part of the discussion? So it's recorded as part of this meeting?
So just, I welcome new neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I moved out here a few years ago to get out of Jacksonville, and I truly love it. Love how dark it gets. I would just want to keep that going. I don't want to have trailer parks going through my neighborhood. I would like add some sort of an addendum to the sale, the deed of the property, to say that they are not going to want to, I know, be a part of the LOA and assume liability, I would imagine. But there can be some sort of an agreement in there to say that they are going to contribute to whatever the current fees are for the LOA for everyone else that is in it. And going forward, if it increases, their share increases as well.
I don't know that we have authority to dictate that. We can put in stipulations saying that there needs to be a written maintenance agreement for the road work and all of that.
Right.
But in terms of adopting and accepting the deeds and covenants that are of that neighborhood against this new property, that's kind of out of our purview.
Right.
And really what we're talking about doing is exempting them from the subdivision requirements.
Right.
And that land's currently zoned Ag 7.5, so we're not, as Gabe mentioned, we're not changing anything there.
Right.
And it looks like, you know, based on the application, thank you, based on the application, that there would be the Davidson would have a property there, and then one of their children or someone, and then the other piece would be vacant. So it looks like 3 homes in there. So my conversation, like I said, back to gentleman in the back, is that have that conversation with the Davises and say, hey, we would welcome you to be part of the Glenwood subdivision. You guys are bigger lots than what we are, and let's all work together to make sure that that the roads are maintained. Because like he was saying, 20 years down the road, when we're off doing something else, you know, somebody could come in and change that. So getting that agreement up front, that's outside of the purview of the LPA, but that is something that I think would be a very productive conversation.
Sure. And just one last thing real quick.
Yes, sir.
With this being private property, and I do understand the state and local laws on giving access to the nearest county road, I do understand that. Is this the only way that they can get in and out of the property? Is this going to be their only answer for the sale of the property?
Tell you what, they're here, we'll ask them.
Okay.
Fair enough?
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
If I can, two little things. So one of the differences in a land use and zoning change and a subdivision process, when we change land use and zoning, we cannot put restrictions on that. Through the subdivision process, restrictions can be added to a subdivision. So we could look into some sort of road maintenance agreement between the current Glenwood HOA and the new development. They could look to establish some sort of road maintenance agreement, some sort of the board in the past has required covenants and restrictions to be recorded along with the plat that lay out some of those building requirements. So even though it could have that Ag 7.5 zoning, you could put some restrictions on the actual platted part of the property.
So said another way, we can require a written agreement for the road maintenance, point 1, correct?
You could require that a road maintenance agreement accompany the recording of the plat.
Yes.
Yes.
And then secondly, you were talking about, you lost me on the deeds and covenants.
So some subdivisions, not all, have recorded covenants and restrictions, and they are pretty much the agreement that they're speaking of that they have with Glenwood. It looks different in different developments.
Right.
So the board can require some sort of recorded covenants and restrictions to accompany the plat.
Okay. Any questions
But
on that, guys?
those are normally, before we're getting close to the recording of the plat, those are all laid out, and those are normally reviewed with the recording of the plat. So whatever conditions are laid out, those conditions have to be met prior to the recording of the plat, and those are reviewed at the same time the plat's reviewed.
Okay. All right.
I have a question while we have LaDanya.
Yes.
So C and Glenwood are private roads. Do the Davises have an agreement or easement
Yeah,
to use those roads?
there's
Okay, it's in place?
yes,
Okay.
yes, to the property as a whole, the way that it is now, they have access there.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Sorry, there's no written agreement. They own property inside of the LOA at one point. It's now been given or sold to his son. Wyman Davis is outside of the property, and so we let him access through 3 Forks on the dirt road, but there's no written agreement in the LOA for him.
Understood. And I think what we're talking about is based on the comments from Mr. Adams, Mr. Weeks, and others, that we're having a neighborly discussion, if you will, in this county meeting, and that you guys in Glenwood are asking that the road be maintained as it is today, as these properties get developed. And so saying, hey, would you accept or join our LOA to maintain the properties? And then additionally, she was talking about the deeds and restrictions, that you would have a conversation with. We can stipulate that the deeds and restrictions should be included as part of the exemption, as well as a maintenance, some type of letter for road maintenance and joining the LOA. We can stipulate that, but what those final terms are is what you guys are going to have to work out yourselves. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, we got a couple more on this one. So, Hushton, and I can't read your last name, sir.
Higdon. Houston
Higdon.
Higdon.
Oh, Houston. Sorry.
Yes. So I'm Houston Higdon. I'll be buying the 12-acre parcel that's getting split up in. From what I'm hearing is the easement that we have.
Could you give us an address?
I live at 6298 Michelle Road.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So the easement that's shown on the site plan that we have for us to access off the end of Glenwood is not a currently maintained road. It's a block of woods that, to my understanding, we are going to have to go in, take down the trees, put a road on the easement for us to access our property. The 3 Forks Road is where Mr. Wyman and them, their residence is, and that is not our access to the property. That road goes to their house. Obviously, we're purchasing the property to the rear of their home, but we have no access besides driving through their yard. So if something has changed with that easement, then we would need to know now as far as the coming off the end of Glenwood. And if there's some type of requirement for us to maintain the road, there's no road there for us to maintain. We're going to be putting a road in ourselves.
And that's part of what the neighborhood is asking is
Yeah.
understanding that there's probably no roads in there, or maybe just a tram
It kind
trail.
of
or
sounds like they're wanting us to help them maintain the roads, which I had no problems as far as like the community road coming in and stuff like that. But this road going through the easement that we have is, to my understanding, it's a private easement. Obviously, it's through somebody else's property, but there's nothing there except trees right now. So if we're gonna how am I gonna pay money to put something in and then obviously it's going to my property, but if I'm putting the road in, I would assume that I'm maintaining that portion of the road, or are they going to require us to maintain everything in the community?
No, I think it would be a shared cost based on my understanding of the conversation this evening. That yes, you're going to have your own private road into your place, your driveway, if you will, but coming through the Glenwood neighborhood, all those guys are paying to maintain and keep that road up.
Yep.
And they're saying if you're going to be coming through the neighborhood and, you know, assuming that you would become a member of the Glenwood subdivision, that you would share in the cost of maintaining the roads through there and up to your place.
Ultimately, what the Glenwood residents are asking is for you to share, to adopt basically their LOA along with their deeds and restrictions.
Yes.
Is what I'm getting.
To,
Which would be no mobile homes.
yeah, which
Minimum square footage, that's what they're,
Yeah.
that's what they're asking.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like.
And then, I guess my biggest thing was just verifying that easement on the end of Glenwood is actually going to be
Yeah.
our easement for our property.
Beg your pardon?
The easement shown on the map there,
Yeah.
kind of sounded like there was somebody here that owned that property
That was Mr. Red.
that was not under the impression that we had an easement through their property. So that's a big discussion that needs to be had, because there's site plans with this plat put on there, so at some point there were some discrepancies somewhere down the line.
Okay. So probably before anything gets recorded, I would recommend that all of that gets worked out. So it sounds like 3 conversations. One, the road maintenance agreement. Then you're talking, if I'm looking at this picture, you're talking about that little piece of road that kind of goes up and angles over to the Ag B land?
This piece here.
Yeah, that there's no road there, but you're still gonna have to come through Glenwood to get to that.
Correct.
So Glenwood neighborhood is asking for cost sharing on your road, because they would maintain that up to your place, as well as cost sharing in there. So
Who was responsible for putting the road in Glenwood to begin with?
probably the original builder back
The
in the
developer.
80s. Okay, and then they're asking that you also adopt through whatever negotiations you have, their deeds and restrictions and covenants that they have, i.e. they don't want, 20 mobile homes
Yeah.
put back in there. They want a conventional home.
Correct.
A square footage of, say, 1,800 square feet or something like that.
Which I'm pretty sure that's what the zoning is for, is single.
But no, the only thing that we're talking about here, because we're not putting those restrictions on it, we are just talking about an exemption from the subdivision requirement.
Okay.
So, and the zoning and everything else would stay. The neighborhood character, if you will, that's defined in the deeds and restrictions and covenants, is how they're asking you to develop that parcel that you live on, as well as cost share on the road. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That'll, like you said, that'll be another conversation that'll have to be had. Just to clear one more thing up, there's only going to be 2 new homes on these properties. There's already one home that the Davises live in, and then there's 2 more properties that my brother and myself are purchasing in the back. So
Yeah.
there will only be 2 new homes being put in that area.
And that's what I was saying earlier to Mr. Weeks, that we're not going to be having 40, 50 cars coming up and down that road.
It's
going to be
and
2
one
families.
family's not moving out there for numerous years.
Yeah.
So it's all right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Register. Hello, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Darrell Register, 9452 Glenwood Drive. I just want to try to clarify a little bit and ask a question. Obviously, from the presentation that Ms. Combs made, the county assumed that access would be on the existing Three Forks Road easement. The other road that's in discussion, or the other easement, Pine Knoll Road, and the gentleman is correct, it's trees, and you can't tell there's a road there. There is an existing easement there. It's a private easement that's owned by Glenwood, not by me. I do own the 2 lots down beside it. They're both in red, and they back up to my property, which is in blue, is the second lot. The lot on the corner of Pine Knoll and Glenwood is owned by the Thoreaus, who are also here. So that's a private easement that belongs to the Glenwood Landowners Association that exists just to access those 2 lots that I own back there.
Okay.
Am I right in assuming that, or thinking that you thought that when they went through the process, they were going to use Three Forks Road?
That was my understanding,
We-
because
We were told,
to my knowledge, which you just clarified, that this section here was not developed.
we were told that the Davises, and I don't wish any ill will for the Davises at all. They're great people. But we were told that they would not grant an easement across their remaining property where their home is.
Okay.
We're not preventing access to the property. The Davises are preventing access to the property. If they won't grant, they own it, and they want to sell it, they could grant an easement to access the property they want to sell.
Yes, they could.
Thank you.
So hang on, Daryl, before you step away. So your point is that little left dog leg, for lack of a better word, there at the bottom of the screen. Yes, that one.
It's named Pine Knoll Road. It
Pine
was
Knoll.
named in the original Glenwood plat.
And you're saying that is owned by the Glenwood LOA.
That's correct.
Okay.
As
Mr.
are
Adams,
all
1
the
second,
other
please.
roads.
That's what, yeah. So it's,
Now, except Three Forks is not owned by the Glenwood LOA, I don't believe, but there is an existing easement that allows those folks to use Glenwood to get to Three Forks.
Okay. I'm just scribbling down a lot of notes here. Okay. You guys have any questions for Daryl? Okay, thank
for
you, sir.
allowing me to speak.
Mr. Adams, come on back up, please.
Just a quick question. There's a question in my mind about the application for the subdivision that is in front of you is maybe not complete as far as access and et cetera, as far as this goes. Am I hearing things right or not?
Well, it has legal access through Glenwood to Three Forks.
I'm
There is
questioning,
legal access
I'm
to
questioning the
Forks.
actual application though, as far as the detail of what is in the application, because the only thing we're seeing is that 30-acre deed there.
if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
To subdivide land, you have to take a path through the county.
Sure.
And so this is an application that's saying, hey, I'm not coming in here with a full-blown development, and I believe that I can go down this path instead of this path. So here's an application for what I'm trying to do. Will you let me go down path B instead of path A?
Right.
That's all that it's doing.
And
It's saying, I
also-
would like, you have this, I have to do this, I have to subdivide this, and you as a county have these requirements, but I'm not really putting a full-blown residential subdivision in here. I'm just subdividing land.
Sure.
And so I would like to go, I don't believe some of these requirements would apply to me because of that. And so I'm going to go through path B, but I have to put an application to go down path B.
But the actual application for the subdivision in question should meet the same requirements that Glenwood had to meet before this was developed, because Glenwood, the original owner of the property, had to pave the roads coming in. It was a requirement.
And for smaller lots, you have to. There are some exemptions that can be granted if you're creating lots that are larger than 5 acres.
That's for
apiece.
this board to decide though. But thank you.
Yes. Okay. I've got 3 other speaker cards, and I'll call them out, and if it's not part of this application, just, you can ignore me. Mr. Cruz, Randy Cruz, I know you're separately. Kevin Sadler, you're part of this, separate? Okay, thank you. And Russell Davis.
I'm basically here for my dad. He's ill.
Yes, sir.
Russell Davis is my name, 9520 Glenwood Drive is my address. This road they're all talking about, it's a platted road in Glenwood. It dead ends into the property we're talking about. It's never been cleared because it's never been had to be used. But the 2 lots Daryl's talking about, if he ever sells them, my dad used to own them. If he ever sells them or does anything with them, that road's gonna have to be cleared anyway.
Right.
But that is a platted road in Glenwood. And there's
Okay.
only gonna be 2 houses back
Right.
there, which everybody's done said.
Okay. So you're saying Pine Knoll is a platted road, not a
And
private
that's-
road?
and that's the road
They're
they're
all
gonna
private
access.
roads.
to.
Well,
They're
they're
all
all
private.
private roads, my mistake.
They're all
Sorry.
Yeah, they're all private. Every
Yeah,
road in there.
my bad.
It's no different than
And
the other
Three
roads
Forks
inside
Road
the
is a
development.
Yeah.
platted road in there.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Davis? Is there any other feedback on this? Any other public comments for this?
You just got another one? Somebody just come.
Looks like we got another one coming. Thank you.
Mr. Russell, that platted road goes all the way to the
It
new
is
subject
into the
property.
that we're talking about. That'd be the first lot right there, and then there's access to the other lot off of that property to where Houston's gonna build his house.
So we're hearing 2 different things, basically.
All right.
Some believe it's an easement, some believe it's a platted road.
It's a platted road, it's got a name, Pine Knoll Road, it's on there in Glenwood.
Concrete monuments on.
Yeah, I've had it
15
surveyed.
acre piece where the easement comes onto the property. Yeah, I've got a picture of it on
So LaDonna,
Based on the survey information that we were given, it goes all the way to the property. Based on the survey information we were given.
as a plat,
But it's private.
yes, it's private, just like all the other roads inside that subdivision.
So
Okay.
it's intended for Glenwood.
Right.
Yes, it is, the
Private
intention-
road owned by Glenwood
For it to
LOA.
be Just like the other roads that are in, it's no different than the other roads that are in.
That's right.
Glenwood,
And
except it was
if
never-
Glenwood LOA
It was just
chooses
never
not to
developed.
remove the trees, then
Right.
the
You don't have an
trees
easement.
stay. You can't go clear someone else's property.
If it's a platted road,
Correct.
an easement,
If
But it's
a
private.
If it's a platted road, yeah, that's correct. You can't go clear someone else's property. That property does not belong to anyone involved in the applicant of
it's a
Mr.
road in
Davis's.
Glenwood.
What's that?
It's a road in Glenwood.
It is a road in Glenwood,
Right.
and Glenwood LOA decided to leave that vegetated. It's their decision.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how the unless
And why is the
unless an agreement was worked out with Glenwood for this gentleman to fund himself to go in and build this road to their standards or contribute to their fund, which it sounds like that's what they're wanting them to do, is just simply contribute to the maintenance and the longevity of the paved roads and the development. And so if an agreement can come in place there, then, with the LOA, then, I think they may let him do that. But right now, it's Glenwood's property.
See, Three Forks Road, that's just my dad's driveway,
Correct.
and he maintains that.
Correct.
It's not paved,
That's affirmative.
and this probably wouldn't be paved either, but they maintain it.
They could maintain it or join the
trees.
LOA, and then it would become,
They'd still have to maintain it, because it would be paved, but I don't think they have a problem joining the homeowners or landowners
okay.
association.
All right, any other comments?
That's it for me.
All right, thank you, sir,
Thanks.
appreciate it. All right, Mr. Nelson.
Gus Nelson, I live on 9672 Glenwood Drive. I'm the treasurer of the LOA. So I wanted to provide a couple of financials on that. It's $120 a year for the HOA, so it's like $10 a month. So what happened is, it's the road.
If you could speak into the microphone,
The
sir.
road got paved before I moved into the town, right? So now it's just a lot of potholes. Sometimes doctor weeks have to go and fill it up, right? And then some of the members that live in the HOA, they're all older folks. Sometimes we want to raise the HOA, but we don't want to do that because we don't know what kind of income that they have, right? We're trying to be considerate of that. So we want to make sure that whoever that moved in into the road, building a new house, want to make sure that like the contribute, like not as much. We're not trying to say like, oh, it's gonna be like Jacksonville, like $600 a month, like it's only $120 a year, and then they have been pretty friendly. It's a friendly town. You go, people welcoming. We just help each other. I mean, we look out for each other. We just want to make sure that it stay that way, not just a lot of traffic, because we do walk throughout the neighborhood. We do everything in the neighborhood. So I wanted to provide some financial issues. It's not that much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any other comments on Glenwood? All right, I'll try and summarize what I think we've heard, and board, correct me if I misspeak. So we're asking for an exemption for the subdivision, for the preliminary review. And through the discussion, what has been asked of the Glenwood neighborhood is that there is some, what do we call them? Not restrictions, but
Deeds and covenants.
well,
Covenants
not
and
no.
restrictions.
Well,
Covenants
but
and restrictions.
no, but
Or
we add conditions.
Conditions.
Was
Conditions.
what's the word I was looking for? That the Glenwood neighborhood has asked for conditions be upon approval, and before this gets recorded, that there's a road maintenance agreement, and that they agree to maintain the road to the standards that the LOA has, and that they participate with the LOA to help maintain the roads in the entire Glenwood neighborhood. On top of that, they would also ask that we put in conditions that any new construction that happens in there conforms with the deeds and covenants and restrictions that Glenwood currently has. So they want to have, a stick-built home, 1,400 square feet, whatever the terms are, and that the upon approval that those get accepted. There's probably going to be some negotiation back and forth between you, sir, and those guys if we move forward. But that's what's been asked. I think that kind of summarizes everything. Did I miss anything? Okay, that said, what's the, any comment from the board?
I'm still hung up on that other access road. If it's a private road and owned by Glenwood, I don't want this gentleman to buy a piece of property and he can't get to it.
He can still get, he
He
still
would
has
have to come
access
through
to the property. They
340.
may have to change
Right.
a couple things. There are a couple variables here. One, hopefully, this has got another reading on the 9th at the county commission. So hopefully what happens, after this meeting is the property, who's going to buy it gets with the LOA. They come to some sort of agreement, come in front of the county commissioner, say, hey, we've got this thing worked out, and everybody's singing Kumbaya. If that doesn't happen, he can cancel his application process. If they can't come to terms, he can also rearrange. Instead of what he thought was going to be his driveway, he can now change, twist his house, and now his house faces north, right, instead of faces east, and he comes into the property a different way. They're not landlocking this property because he can't get there. And again, it's private roads, private right-of-ways. If Glenwood decides to leave that natural and vegetated, then they have that right to do so. So they can still proceed with the application process, just in hopes that they can come together, and everyone gets what they want, right? If that would be the best thing here. If they can't, they can't.
And it sounds like everybody wants to get there. It's
Yep.
just having that conversation.
Yeah, no, I think
The new land-
it's advantageous for everyone involved.
Yeah, it's a win-win, basically. Because the new people want to come in, take advantage of the quiet neighborhood or the residential neighborhood that's there, not disrupt it. The existing citizens there don't want development coming in. They don't mind new neighbors, but they don't want to be overrun with commercial construction or anything else. And they're just looking for cost sharing. Okay? So that said, ma'am, do you have anything else?
I do not.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
With conditions or without?
I'll let the commissioners handle that.
Second.
Okay, so we've got a motion to approve, let me get back to the beginning here. The exemption to the subdivision requirements for preliminary review has been moved and seconded with no exceptions or no conditions. The conditions will be part of the discussion of the county commissioner meeting. And so I would say for you folks in Glenwood, you, sir, and anybody else, that you guys get together before you have a conversation with the county commissioners and, come together as a united front, or no, we can't, we're at an impasse, and then you'll have until the 9th to try and resolve that. Okay? So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. This is passed. So exemption to subdivision is passed, and no conditions to be discussed with the county commissioners. Right, thank you. And if anybody else, if you have any questions after this, because it was lengthy, you can go back and watch the video online. Also, you can come up to the county offices and talk with LaDonna, and she can explain any questions. And the first reading's what, the 19th?
Yeah, so this coming Tuesday will be the first.
Yeah, so this coming Tuesday will be the first county commissioner. So in the county commissioner meetings, they read it through the first time, they talk through it. What was the discussion from the LPA? What was the discussion from the citizens? You'll have a chance to talk about it then. They do not make the discussion, that's just fact finding for them.
But conditions normally are proposed at that first reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have on this one. Thank you, and everyone, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it. A lot of times we get up here in these LPA meetings, and there's us, LaDonna, maybe the applicant, and that's about it. It's good to see the participation, and good to see some long-time friends. All right, thank you guys. You guys can have a good evening. Unless you want to sit and listen to us, go to the next one.
So the next application we have is a very similar application. It is also an exemption to subdivision requirements for preliminary review. This is some property that is owned by Radiant, Rayonier, whichever entity you'd like to call them. I think everybody refers to them something different.
Radiant is the real estate arm of Rayonier.
Yes. So this property is located along 124 in Sanderson. So it's actually part of two parcels. So if you look here, this is one portion that we're looking at. This large tract here is the second portion that we're looking at, but we're only looking at this section here that faces 124. Okay, so this is one entire parcel. This is one entire parcel. They are proposing this parcel be broken out completely. This parcel kind of split through here, and you'll see lots facing 124. This will remain intact and undeveloped for the time being. So the total acreage that they are looking for development purposes is 135 acres. So it has a current land use of Ag A and B, and a current zoning of Ag 10 and Ag 7.5. So the proposed platted subdivision would be 12 lots. Of course, the vacant lots, once they were recorded, they'd be available for purchase, and they would be developed by whoever purchased them at the time. So you'll see here, everything in that area really is either Ag A or Ag B with Ag 10 or Ag 7.5. All of these lots will meet those requirements, so there's no request for a land use or zoning change. So you can see from the the FEMA map here. So this northernmost parcel on the north side of 124, the part of that that's being developed is all uplands. None of the FEMA flood zone is on that part. There is a section here, and you're going to see on the lot layout, this lot that is proposed in this area is quite a bit larger than the other lots, in order to absorb that FEMA flood zone and still leave a good portion of buildable land. So I think Miss Julie's passing them out. So what you'll see here, so this was the southernmost portion that you saw, the southernmost parcel. So this lot here is just over 19 acres, and it encompasses that flood zone area for the most part, and then still has several acres here in the front that would be buildable uplands. So all of the lots will have access onto 124, which is a county maintained paved road. So the way that road sort of elbows around, you'll see 124 goes along here, and then continues along here, and these would be on the northernmost end of 124. And then this here is where 124 intersects with 127. So that's what your lot layout would look like from the two different portions. So there's a lot of color on those, and a lot of those FEMA flood zone lines. So this is kind of just a very simple, black and white version of what those lots look like, and you can clearly see where 124 comes along, and that they all have access along the paved road. You'll see all of them are at least 10 acres, with this one here being just over 11, with a little bit of the flood zone in the backside, and then this one being just over 19, and like that flood zone coming along here. So this application does meet all of the requirements for the exemption process. So with that, staff does recommend approval. It would still be platted with all of those requirements, entitlements that come with that platting process.
Okay. Well, that's out in my neighborhood, so I guess it's time to move to Baxter. Getting a little crowded now. I do have just a question, and it's not necessarily related to the application, but
Okay.
again, talking about precedents. I know last time we were here last month, I had asked for two things to be added to the comp plan review. One was the parking lot elements, and I also seen that echoed by the chamber, or by the commissioners. But then thresholds for roads and paved roads. My concern being this, this is very rural, I understand that. We just went through the whole other conversation where they were private roads. So as a county, roads are going to become a thing, and as subdivisions get built out, we just need to make sure that we're cognizant of here's what the thresholds are, when and where we want paved roads and where we don't, what are improved roads and what are not, or private roads. So that it's just a comment, just so we're aware of it, because I don't want everybody to be coming in asking to put in a subdivision, and then they say, well, we want an exemption to it, and we've already granted an exemption somewhere else, and then we say, nope, you have to have paved roads, and then we put ourselves in a pickle.
Right.
Makes
So
sense?
even with that exemption process, there are some acreage requirements already. So if they are, if we are looking at 5-acre lots, it
Yes.
says county maintained paved road. 10 acres or more, it is county maintained, paved or unpaved. So
Right.
there's already some thresholds there, but I think it definitely would be beneficial to more clearly define paved versus unpaved and public versus private.
And that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Thank you for restating
Yeah.
that. Kind of rambling tonight. Yeah, because I'm thinking, man, now I got to find property in Baxter.
And I'll say too that in this area, going back to the, you can see a little bit of it. So County Road 124 kind of elbows around here. It turns into to dirt road right here.
Mm-hmm.
So just down this street where you can see there, if we were to have zoomed out, there are lots along this dirt road over here, and those are lots that were broken out by Rainier in similar fashion.
Yep.
So there's a couple of very similar very similar developments that have been done in this area.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one along 127 North too, kind of across where Hamp Register Road comes out onto 127. They had a large tract
Yes.
exemption to subdivision 2 there as well.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to talk to this? No? All right. What's the pleasure of the board? Or comments from the board? All right. What's the pleasure of the board for the exemption to subdivision requirements for preliminary road review, County Road 124?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve exemption to subdivision requirements for preliminary review, County Road 124, as part of Radiant LLC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Motion approved.
All right, let's change the pace a little bit. The next 2 applications that I have for you are companion applications. Excuse me. So if it's okay with you, I will present
Yes,
them
absolutely,
together.
please.
So this is for ordinance number 2025-31, a small-scale land use amendment, and 2025-32, a rezoning. This property is owned by William and Martha Roden. It is located off of 229 South, towards the Union County line. The official address is off of Suncrest Place, but Suncrest Place comes off of 229 South. The parcel is currently 8.22 acres with a land use of Ag A and a zoning of Ag 10. So while the parcel is only 8.22 acres, we would consider it in compliance with current standards because previously it was more than 10 acres, and they gave a family lot, which is this strip here. This used to be all together in one piece. They gave this strip as a family lot to their child, and that put them under the 10-acre threshold. We still recognize that as a conforming lot for building purposes. However, they would like to give a family lot to a grandchild. So in order to make any other changes, they would have to bring it to current standard. So that's why the request here is to go from Ag 10 to Ag 7.5 and from Ag A to Ag B. So if you look here, this, for the most part, this entire area is Ag A and Ag 10. There have been very little changes made to this area over time. There are tracts that are smaller than 10 acres, most of which are family property of some sort, whether they've been inherited, whether they've been family lots, or some of them just are older lots that predate current standard. So they would be considered conforming. So one of the benefits of agricultural property is the ability to give family lots and still keeping that rural character. The applicant's request would result in a conforming lot and have minimal changes in density. Again, the parcel would be considered compliant right now, just based on that family lot process. So staff does recommend approval, and the family is here if you have any questions for them.
So my question to you is, why are we going through this land use amendment, this change? Why couldn't we have just done a family lot with this?
Because at the time they give a family lot, they have to be in compliance with that acreage standard. So they gave that family lot previously, and it put them under that 10-acre threshold.
Got it.
So in
Okay.
order to give another one, they have to meet that acreage minimum at the time.
Understood. I wasn't aware of the
Yes.
previous. Okay.
Yes.
Because I was like, this seems to be a lot of work just for
Yes,
something
sir.
that could have been a family lot.
Yes, sir.
Can you give more than one family lot at a time?
So I would say no, not at one time. So they are processed one at a time. So even if two are given at the same time, we're subtracting that acreage before the second one's processed. So this
Maybe
would
something
only
to look at.
allow them to do one family lot.
Yeah.
Because they would go under.
No,
that
I'm just
7.5
asking, like in the
acre.
future, you know, if
Yeah.
I had 2 kids and I wanted to both give them one, but once I do the one, the other one's going to make me go through this process.
Right,
You know,
right.
it would
And
be nice if I
that's
could
kind
do
of what we've seen
multiple lots at one
not too
time.
long ago with the Hill property where they
Yeah.
were wanting to give the larger
That's right.
lots.
Yeah.
If you could simultaneously
Right.
give those lots,
Right.
that would be different,
That's
but
right.
that's not the case. We process
And
them
that's
one
part
at a
of where
time.
people got to come in and talk to you. Like I came
Right.
in, talked to Julie just about a month ago
Right.
about, some of my property out my way.
Do we have a
See, I told
survey
you
of the
I'm going to
property?
Baxter. pardon?
They do. Yeah, they do have a survey.
They do have a survey?
Mm-hmm.
And is the new lot laid out of where that's going to go?
So have you guys have surveyed that piece?
Yeah.
Okay. So they said they have.
That'd be great.
If you go back, I know
So some families choose not to survey that portion until this has been,
Sure.
approved or denied to
Yep.
not incur that cost. So it's going in the back portion, right? Is that correct?
So this is when you drive in over here, it's right here, and this portion right here. This is where their house is currently, but it's cut out right here.
Okay.
in this bottom portion.
Okay. Any other comments from the public? Gabe, look like you guys got some questions there.
Oh, it just looks wet. That's all. So that's my only concern.
Yeah, and when they get into it, there could be some sort of actual wetlands. There's no FEMA flood zones anywhere near it, so.
It is, I'm sorry, it is, like, we already cleared it
Okay.
and built it up. It's actually a lot drier than you would expect, a lot of clay.
Yeah.
But like what we have going on, so it's cleared and we built it up a lot, so
Okay.
that was one of our major concerns.
Yes. And my next question, but it's covered here by this plot, that the easement, how wide was that? But that's already covered here. Okay, here's the layout. And Miss LaDonna, just kind of testing your knowledge here because I don't remember. What is our standard easement at 60 foot, right? Or are we at 30 and then grant another 30?
Yeah, so private roads are different than public roads, so fire rescue in the most recent applications, they have been requesting 60 foot for emergency purposes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, any other questions from the board? What's the pleasure of the board? Ordinance number 2025-31, small scale land use amendment, Ag A to Ag B. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 2025-31, small scale land use amendment from Ag A to Ag B. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. And then the,
Motion to approve ordinance 2025-32 rezoning Ag 10 to Ag 75.
do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, both have passed.
Mr. Blake, did you second that? I'm sorry, my head was down. Thank you.
Okay, the last two applications I have are companions as well. So if it's okay with you, I'll present those together also.
Wait, 29. Did I miss somebody on speaker cards?
For that last
Mr.
one.
Sadler? This one, okay. Just making sure I didn't miss. Because I know Mr. Cruz in the back there, but I was like, uh-oh, I missed somebody. Okay, back to you, sorry.
Okay, so this is for ordinance number 2025-29, a large-scale land use amendment, and ordinance number 2025-30, a rezoning. So this land use amendment is considered a large-scale land use amendment. Anytime property, there is a land use change that is 50 acres or more, it is considered large-scale. So this property is more than that, so it would be considered large-scale. The way that works, I make a recommendation to you guys. You guys would make a recommendation to the commissioners. The commissioners would hear it for first reading. At first reading, they would give either approval to submit or approval to transmit or denial to not transmit. At that point, it is transmitted to Florida Commerce, which used to be the Department of Economic Opportunity. And it's also sent to the Water Management District. There's a list of entities in the staff report there that it is sent out to. It is also sent out to neighboring counties as well. And they are given chance to have some sort of input. So during that process, the state would either accept or not accept the land use change. It would come back to the county, and then at that time, based on the recommendation from the state, or from Florida Commerce, the commissioners would either vote to approve or deny. So this process is a little different, just because there is that waiting period in between that first and second reading. So the property here is located off of Reed Stafford Road. It's just past the solar fields. You can see that in the aerial there. So the property that we're talking about is this here that's highlighted, but it is also these strips of property here as well. You can see here, based on how it is outlined in blue there, you can see the purple and the red, which is the Ag A versus Ag B. So the Ag A is what has to be transmitted to the state for approval. That portion there is 113 acres. So that is the purple portion is what you would be looking at for the land use change. And then the entirety of everything, the 183 acres, would be the zoning change from Ag 10 and Ag 7.5 to Ag 5. So just to give a little bit of clarification there. So the applicant is currently looking to sell the site-built home that is on the property with 5 acres of this parcel. And with that, upon selling it, by this change, this would allow him to sell it as a conforming lot with the 5 acres, versus having to sell it with 7.5 right now. That would leave the rest of the property with the Ag 5 zoning, that, you know, could be developed in the future, into tracts of 5 acres or more. But that would require a subdivision process, and
But we're not there yet.
Yes, that's not the immediate intent. The immediate intent is to sell that single-family home with the 5 acres that's immediately surrounding it. We just like to share those avenues of current intent, and then what could be potential future intent, just so there's transparency there. But what we're looking at right now, his intention right now, is just to sell the single-family home with 5 acres and sell that as a conforming lot. So, like I showed you just on the map here a second ago, this parcel really is divided by those 2 different land uses, and the land use change would only be on a portion of it. The rezoning, the parcel is primarily Ag 7.5 with a strip of Ag 10 at the top. So that would bring the lot to a conforming zoning standard across the lot. So you wouldn't see 2 different zonings on one lot. It would all be that Ag 5 zoning. So there is a portion of wetlands a portion of the flood zone that comes along the parcel. So you can see there, that's where it comes along. So like I talked about just a minute ago, this type of application is a little different with a large-scale land use, because there is that submittal kind of in the middle of the process. And you'll see laid out there, it goes to the State Land Planning Agency or Florida Commerce, the Northeast Florida Regional Council, the St. Johns River Water Management District, the Department of Environmental Protection, Department of State, Department of Transportation, as well as going out to surrounding counties. The same way when other counties are doing large-scale applications, they have to send that information to us. So the changes you've seen recently along the Nassau County line, we've gotten all of those applications to review as well. That is just the way the process works. This parcel was kind of made up of a couple of different pieces of property put together. So the survey was a little busy, but we did put that there just so that you can see the entirety of the parcel has been surveyed to make sure we have accurate descriptions of what we're sending out. So staff does recommend approval to transmit to the state. If you have any questions, Mr. Cruz is here to answer those questions for you, or if you have any questions that I can answer.
So I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
So the rezoning is for 183 acres to take it from Ag 10 and Ag 7.5
Yes,
to
sir.
Ag 5.
Yes, sir.
So that difference of 70 acres, there's 183 for the rezoning, but the land use
Yeah, so that's
amendment is 113 acres
yes.
because that is Ag A,
Yes.
and then the 70 acres is Ag B.
Yep, so that's the difference that you see here in the red and the purple. So the purple is what is Ag A that would need to be changed to Ag B before it could be rezoned to Ag 7.5.
They're gonna have to come back at a later
acreage-
time and do that portion.
Well, there's still a companion rezoning for Ag 5. So we will hear them at the same time, but that land use
To the
would be
land use.
submitted to the state.
Yeah.
But the acreage difference that you see is the difference in purple and red. So the rezoning would be for the entirety of the parcel
To make it all Ag 5.
to make it all Ag 5. Ag 5 is part of the Ag B land use.
Right.
So we would have to convert that Ag A to Ag B to have consistency there.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering why we had a 70-acre difference.
Yes, that's why. The rezoning application is for the red and the purple, and the land use, for the zoning is for red and purple. The land use is just for what you see in purple there.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Before I open it up for the public, you guys got any comments? Okay. Mr. Sadler.
How you doing? Kevin Sadler, 7493 Bill Davis Road in Glen. My main concern is with the water. I live, if you look on the FEMA map there, I live basically where the B and I of Bill Davis Road is. As you can see, in my property, there is some flood zone in there. And then just to the south, there's more flooding area there. But the way that the water is running now, they have a ditch going up to Peacock Creek through a culvert back down to the other flood zone. But if you look at it, Peacock Creek is actually about a 4-foot, 5-foot incline. So
Okay.
the water doesn't go uphill. When we first moved there was a culvert that actually crossed Bill Davis Road.
Mm-hmm.
And over on the other side of Bill Davis, and there was a ditch. And it ran pretty good. And then one day the road superintendent says, nope, I'm getting rid of it. We're gonna go this way. And I was like, well, it's gonna go uphill, it's not gonna go. So I've had many thousands of dollars of damage in my house from all the flooding.
Oh,
The only relief I get is when we have a washout with Bill Davis, and it goes to the other side of Bill Davis Road. Unfortunately, on Mr. Cruz's property also. So there's really no way of the drainage of where it's supposed to go. And my question here is, I understand he's putting houses, but where's the water going to go? Is he going to push it back on Bill Davis on me?
well,
Where's the water going to go?
so by Florida statute, one property owner can't harm another property owner. So even if this gets submitted to the state and then comes back, he's got to go through
No,
a.
it wasn't him that did it. It was the county that took out the culvert in the first place.
Well, and I'll get to that in just a moment. So if there is a subdivision that gets put in there, or lots, or whatever it may be, that because assuming this gets cut up into a subdivision, there's going to have to be water mitigation, everything else, retention ponds, what have you, so that the water isn't coming there. To your point about the ditch no longer being there, the Public Works Department, Chris Lee, he is saying that we need an additional 10 foot of right-of-way on Reed Stafford Road. And so that's the road coming right in front of the whole property. That's that main road running diagonal. He's saying that they are requiring an additional 10 feet of right-of-way, and then they would need an additional 20 feet of right-of-way on Bill Davis. So that said, they're going to widen that road, or have the potential to widen that road, so they could take care of it there. But then he goes on and says, and so this is probably, maybe he wasn't aware of the previous road department, but he said there's a natural ditch that runs through the northeast corner of the property from Bill Davis to Reed Stafford that the plans do not show. So that's that road, that's that ditch that you're talking about, I believe.
Well, the ditch I'm talking about is actually on the east side of Bill Davis. Is what they're trying to get the water to, again, that goes uphill. Again, that water doesn't go uphill, it backs onto my property, it's under my foundation, I've already got damage.
Jesus.
And like I said, the only time I get relief is when Bill Davis washes out.
Yeah.
And that's when the water goes down. Again, if they can give me some sort, like I said, it goes uphill. If you go from Channel Cat going back to Reed Stafford, you can see it goes uphill.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious if it's supposed to go that way. Is it supposed to go another way? But all I know is it comes on me, and where my house is at, it's not even close to the flood zone. I mean, my house is actually below the A and the T. Well, it's Channel Cat, but it's below the A and T is where my home's at.
Okay.
And the water is way past that, and it comes past my home. For me to go out in my driveway, I'm in ankle deep water.
So I think we can include that as part of the transmittal to the state, or can we have the road department go out there and look at that?
So, I mean, this is just a land use and rezoning submittal. You're not.
Yeah, well,
you're not
true.
Looking at any sort of
Any sort of
subdivision,
development
any sort
or,
of
yeah.
building or development. It's only a land use and zoning change. So we.
I'm just going for the information.
So,
Right.
but your point is valid. So,
That's-
so my comment based on where we're at, like she said, we're just authorizing that this gets submitted to the state. Then there's all the subdivision requirements, and you've seen all the other entities that were in there.
That would happen at that
Right,
point
right.
in time. If we were looking at a subdivision application, those concerns would have to be addressed.
Yes.
I understand asking questions now for informational purposes. You know, I absolutely understand that. I honestly would suggest having a conversation with our current public works director. I can't tell you when or why that was changed or removed. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But and I'm not even, our current director, I don't think he's the one that made those changes, so I'm
Yeah,
not
this
sure.
was in some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would certainly come in and talk to the current director for the road department, talk to them and say, hey, there used to be a culvert here. We need to put in. We know this is going to get
You might have some better ideas. I'm not.
You're not a road engineer.
I'm not a road engineer. That's correct. All I know is before, when we set the house, everything was fine. They made some changes, and now everything's backed up. And I understand he wants to do some stuff with his property.
Yeah.
I understand that. But again, he might have to raise his land up more because that's in the flood zone. And then where's the water going?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yep. And that's a very valid concern, but it's preliminary for us right now. But I would definitely get with the road department now and say, hey, what are your options for this? And you could probably ask LaDonna for a copy of these maps, and you could show him what you're talking about, and give him some background because he probably doesn't know about it.
Right.
Because he was talking about another natural ditch out there. The other thing that I would ask is who's going to maintain that ditch? Because we've got a problem in the county with roads. We all know that.
Yes.
You know, Bill Davis is prime example.
Yes.
I live out there off of Leon Dobson, way on the far end out by Little Dixie in that country. But Leon Dobson will get flooded out. And, you know, you're running through a foot of water through there sometimes. Now, when, and it's supposed to be, you know, water in the ditches and dirt on the roads, but it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes the roadway becomes a riverbed.
Great.
Okay.
I'll get with Ms. LaDonna.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
But no, thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mr. Cruz, comments, sir? No? All right. Anybody else have any feedback? Okay, Ms. LaDonna, anything else?
I will say the Water Management District is one of the entities that we have to send the transmittal to.
Yes.
So if they had any concerns with the rezoning portion, of course we would hear from them at that point.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the pleasure of the board? Ordinance number 2025-29, large land scale use amendment transmittal to DEO and agencies.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 2025-29, large-scale land use amendment transmittal to DEO and agencies. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, this passes. All right, and then we've got the companion rezoning. Can somebody give me a motion on the next one, please?
Motion to approve.
The next one.
Oh my God, you guys are killing me. Come on, Smalls.
2025-30 rezoning Ag 10 and 7.5 to Ag 5.
Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Good one, sir. Okay, moved and seconded to approve ordinance, or moved and seconded to vote on ordinance number 2025-30 rezoning from Ag 10 and Ag 7.5 to Ag 5. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, approved. And do you know the lead time or the response time on getting anything back, LaDonna?
I don't. It has been a little over almost 3 years since we've had a large scale land use change.
Okay.
So I've heard just from talking to some other counties that it's about a 30-day turnaround now.
Okay.
The
We got
last
that.
one that we sent about 3 years ago, it was more like a 6-month turnaround. But from talking to some other people, it seems that they have kind of tightened up that ship a little bit, and we're getting those back within about 30 days.
Okay, so first reading is this Thursday.
First reading would be this coming Tuesday.
Tuesday, rather.
And then once we get the submittal package back, then it would go on that next agenda.
Which puts us where?
It depends on when it would
When
come.
they get it back.
Yeah, it depends on when it comes back.
Oh,
So,
true, okay. My bad. Plus, you got me all bamboozled here, buddy.
just messing everybody up this evening.
That's what he comes for, man.
Oh, gosh.
All right, well, that is the end of our business for this. But follow up and also make sure you ask them who's going to maintain that stuff. Okay? Because you don't want them to say, okay, we'll just come out and dump a culvert, and then next time Bill Davis floods, all that silt goes down there and then plugs up the culvert.
Yeah, Chris Lee is his name.
Yeah.
So,
And if you reach out to us, we can get you his contact information so you guys can have those conversations.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
I'm not going to be in the office tomorrow, but yes,
That's
one of the
something
ladies in there will be able to get that information. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, Madam Director, back to you. What's new?
I do not have anything else for you guys this evening.
How's the comp plan come along with the legislative updates?
We're working on it.
So did we went ahead and signed the contract and they're working on it, or
Yes.
we're waiting on that?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good.
So the first portion is really laying out the legislative changes. That portion kind of comes first, and then we will really get heavy on the.
So you
our
expect that like
changes.
after the new year? Probably it's August now, September.
I wouldn't say after the new year.
Well, I'm just saying when the new budget
I-
gets approved probably.
Right. So most of that is in the first. We've kind of broken it up into different phases because we're hoping to get some grant funding for some of it. So the first phase is pretty much now until October. It's to finish out this budget cycle, and that's when they're doing. They're really digging through those legislative changes.
Right.
So by the end of the year, we could be into.
Okay, and
those changes that we're
that we're
that
after,
we're looking
that
for.
we as a
Yes.
board.
Yes.
And those will be open public meetings that people can come in?
They will be. So a lot of it'll be conversation that we're gonna have back and forth. So
Right.
look for some of that conversation towards the end of the year with us, October, November, December meetings.
Now, October I will be out.
Okay, okay. And
It'll
then
be him.
as far as those public meetings go, we may have some of our direction first before that. So we may be looking at maybe the first of the year before we're having those larger public workshops.
Okay.
But they're coming. They're
All right,
coming.
got it.
So we do have a couple of resolutions coming up over the next couple of agendas for the commissioners, where there are some statutory changes that have come about that we have to immediately resolve. So you'll see a couple of resolutions to make minor changes that we have to have just to do standard business.
Right.
And they really can't wait for that update to be finished.
You guys got any questions for LaDonna?
No, sir.
Gabe, come on, you ain't got no questions for LaDonna?
Yeah, are we done?
That's his only question.
Okay, meeting adjourned.